I wish you luck in realizing your ambition.
Hey everyone, it's Blue Lizard Jello, and welcome back to Everything Possible in Elden Ring. Last time we took a run at Margit the Fell Omen in 4 different ways. We dipped our toes into Stormveil Castle, we looked right at a shiny, and then we subsequently forgot it. But now we're going to be diving even deeper into the castle, but with a very different build. I'll be using the Sacrificial Axe with the FP regain, along with the Ground Slam Ash of War, Longbow with Mighty Shot. I have the Marred Leather Shield and the Finger Seal. Oh, by the way, I have Barricade Shield, one of the best Ashes of War on the shield. I do have some arrows equipped. We'll be using those to great effect throughout the episode. For my Elden Bling, I have Iron Helmet, Page Garb, Bandit Manchette, and the Chain Leggings for our 2 talismans, because yes, we now have 2 thanks to the talisman pouch we got from Margit. We have the Assassin's Crimson Dagger and Radigan's Scar Seal, and just a couple of Crimson Tear Flasks, Cerulean Tears, as well as Fire Grease. Now, going really light on the Crimson Tears, because in theory, between the healing incantation with the Finger Seal and the FP regain I get from the Sacrificial Axe, I will be more inclined to heal using incantations than with the actual flask itself. Now, before we actually go to the spot where we ended up last time, I do have to admit that thanks to Douglas Frederick in the comments who pointed this out, there was an item that I don't believe I've ever picked up in all my time playing Elden Ring, and that is just over here, right near the summoning pool, which I should still activate. There is a golden rune level 1. Yes, that might only be 200 runes, but still, 200 runes is 200 runes more than I just had. So thank you to Douglas Frederick. If I miss anything, please always feel free to let me know. So now we will be fast traveling to the Rampart Site of Grace. From here, we're actually going to do just a little bit of backtracking. So that is, we're going to be heading back here into the room with the stairs. Now down here, we do have one of the big knights, so we can deal with him in a few different ways. I'm just going to pop a Barricade Shield and see if I can't get him. Oh boy. Go ahead and pop Barricade Shield again. We're looking for a knockdown here. Okay, well, not going according to plan, but that's okay. He should still be dead. We're going to get a little bit of health back because of that Assassin's Dagger talisman. And from here, we want to look down. Anytime there's platform involved with a From Software game, we're going to drop down very carefully by these thorns. This is a one-way trip for us anyway, so it's okay that our health is a little bit low. You can see that that is where we fought all of those Stormhawks. And just up here, we have all those Exile soldiers, but this is the shiny that we saw off in the distance. So if you just drop down here, and what we want to do is I'm going to grab this and then back up. So we just have 3 arterial leaves. And now I should still be able to travel back to the Rampart Tower. Unfortunately, we got seen, and now we need to deal with this in order to carry on, and that's okay. Hopefully that's the only, well, nope, looks like this one's gonna join the fray as well. Boy, oh boy. Today is not our lucky day, but now we can go back to the Rampart Tower and carry on. Alright, we will be using that bow here shortly, but before, we're not completely backtracking. What I want to do is hop over that gap and then this one. And in this corpse, we have our pair of Drawstring Fire Grease. So again, the Drawstring Fire Grease, or really the Drawstring Grease of any variety, is much more potent than its regular counterpart, but it lasts for a much, much shorter time. So if you know you're going to get a couple of quick hits, definitely use the Drawstring if it is available. Now, I'm going to be heading up top here. We do have some more Exile soldiers, but luckily, with a little bit of Barricade Shield, we can easily knock them down. Get our FP topped off because of the Sacrificial Axe. Okay, I'm going to jump up here. Okay, nice kick. Did he die? He died. There we go. Still get the FP regain. We get 5 throwing daggers here. Now, you can always just drop down onto those stairs But if you're going to go back this way, it's really odd. If you start here and try to jump, you often get stuck. So just jump from a little bit further away and you should be able to get over that pulley system. Right, just head around this tower. We have a whole bunch more of the exile soldiers. But as long as we're quiet, get into crouch position. You can see there's one sleeping here. There's another one who's going to be on top of this platform by the sandbags right there. He will alert all the others. So let's just go nice and quietly. There's one. Don't go for the one that's sleeping. Instead, just cross right in front of this guy's nose. Head up and around. There we go. Perfect. So now we just have 1, 2, 3, 4 more to deal with, but they're all kind of unaware. Get another golden rune at level 2 here. Got some exile greaves, excellent. I do like their armor set quite a lot. Now this is always fun. I like to target the one in back, sneak up a little bit, and then ground slam. Perfect. Free mushroom and one more. Hey, smithing stone level 1 and the exile gauntlets, very nice. So now we're gonna head to this corner with these sandbags and hop up. Now this is where Stormveil Castle is really going to start earning its reputation as one of the best legacy dungeons in Elden Ring. Just the number of different directions that you can head, as well as the sheer verticality, truly is mind-boggling. So I'm going to do my best to show my preferred method. You can actually go down that way. Of course, we have those Stormhawks over there. But for us, we're going to head across these walkways. And I'm going to jump from here over to the next tower. Carefully walk around. Always look down at your feet if you're having trouble navigating. Jump over this broken wall and inside. We have a stone sword key. But very dangerous enemy lurks below. So right here, we have a different variant of the Stormhawk. These ones actually have some sort of flame device attached to their gullet and on their beak. And they can breathe fire in a very, very dangerous and very combustive way. So here's how I like to deal with it. Instead of my fire grease, I'm going to put on my drawstring fire grease. Again, more potent for a very, very short period of time. I'm going to two-hand. And as soon as I light the drawstring fire grease, I'm going to walk off carefully and try and land a plunging R2 onto the bird. I'm then going to switch to one hand, apply barricade shield, and hopefully catch one of his attacks so I can get him with a counter. But 60% of the time, this works every time. Okay, and there we go. Back up. Okay, we're hopefully getting... There we go. Didn't quite get the... Okay, now it's time to retreat. There we go. As you can see, potentially very, very dangerous. You didn't even get to see his flame breath attack, but good news, there are more of them. Over here on this corpse, we actually get one of the few. We've already picked up one, but there's only a handful of these in the game. We get a gesture as an actual loot drop. So we get dozing cross-legged. We're gonna hop over here and we're gonna hop up this little broken pillar. Carefully make our way up again. If you're ever having trouble with the platforming in a FromSoft game, feel free to tilt the camera down. So up here we have a trio of exile soldiers on the left, and we have a couple over on the right. The one over on the right, excuse me, not a couple, just one, is unaware, but these three are going to be very, very aware of us. So the goal is sneak up when we can, hopefully get a backstab on this one. Perfect. That's going to give us a little bit of health back. And then watch the storm attacks. We do have the crossbowman. Okay, knock him down. Still going to get some health back, so the risk reward was worth it. And there we have it. Just one more. Still slowly earning that FP back. Got some bolts, and then we're going to climb this ladder for yet another talisman. And if you are fond of the jump attacks in Elden Ring, you might want to apply this one and possibly never take it off. It's actually got some pretty cool lore to it as well. Not to mention there are a number of eagles up here, so if you're looking for feathers or the 4-fingered foul feet, if you can get any of these, which I often miss. Hey, there we go, we got one. But on this corpse we get the Claw Talisman. So the Claw Talisman, as it says, enhances the jump attacks Ravenmount assassins dressed as birds of prey, and they were actually trying to imitate a death bird, which again, just a really, really cool bit of lore. But this increases all of your junk attack. This increases your jump attack, not your junk attack, although PvP players might actually say one and the same. But anyway, jump attacks are increased by 15%. You can make that jump if you're still hunting for the flight pinions or those foul feet. However, for now, we're just going to head back down. There we go, and exactly the way we came. You can hop down here, and you can continue on basically to the front of the castle this way, but we'll be tackling that in a slightly different manner. This is also a little courtyard down below. You can see a shiny down there. We'll be getting that in due time. So for now, we're hopping down. Now, our goal is to get on this ledge right above me. So what we can do is just run and sprint at the wall carefully. We don't want to fall too far. Turning the camera along with our characters as we go around these corners. Otherwise, the camera, even with auto wall recovery off, can do some very, very strange things. But we have a smithing stone level 2. Actually, we have a pair of them. And now down below, this is kind of misleading by the developers. You have some rats down below, and you can survive this fall. You're going to take some fall damage, but you can survive it. And then you can see that you have an exile soldier with a torch pole. The problem is, that is a one-way drop right now, because the door just on the other side or just behind that exile soldier is locked with a fog gate. It's locked with one of the imp doors. So if you actually try to go that way, let's see if we can get an angle on it. Not quite. You can't get back there. So instead, we're going to travel back to the Rampart Tower side of Grace, and we're going to now continue along the Stormhawk route right above me. And this is where our longbow is going to serve very, very well. You see these barrels with the white stripe on them. That indicates that these are explosive barrels, and all of these Stormhawks, one here, one there, a third there, and a fourth who's off screen behind that tower, are all poised to toss these using their Warhawk talons at the player, dealing a lot of damage. Fortunately for us, because they're explosive, we can deal with them preemptively. And if you zoom in, you can just see that barrel right through those thorns. And again, it's a beautiful thing. Now, they did get flung off, so even if they had any loot, most of them aren't going to have any for us. Well, it looks like this one stayed for us. I appreciate that. Stormhawk Feather and Flight Pinions. Now, we are going to be heading back here in just a moment, but before that, we are going to blow this entire group of barrels up and kill the hawk that was just off screen. Here we have another smithing stone level 2, and now we're going to be dropping down and facing a rather formidable foe. Fortunately for us, no one ever said we had to fight fair, and I most certainly won't be. So you can take a look down below. You see some ledges we can drop to, so we're going to jump up, carefully walk over, again pointing the camera down, and once again hugging the wall, dropping, going for the shiny right here, and we get the Marred Wooden Shield. If this sounds familiar, that's because we are currently using the Marred Leather Shield. So what's the difference between the Marred Wooden and the Marred Leather? One's made of leather. The other is made of wood. So keep that in mind. But in all actuality, there are some very, very basic differences. The Wooden Shield does cost one more weight unit over the Leather Shield. And you can see in most cases, it does offer better damage negation, with the exception of fire, which makes complete sense because wood typically is susceptible to fire. Little fun fact for the day. It does offer a slightly higher guard boost as well. Let's continue hopping down. And at this point, as you look down, there's only one more way. I'm going to go ahead and get my axe ready because, well, you'll see. As soon as you land, you do have a teardrop scarab. I want to kill him nice and quickly if I can. I'm going to try to hit him off at the pass, rather. Not the past. There's no time travel here. And we get the Ash of War Storm Assault. Meanwhile, we'll let that real big bad guy just mosey on in. Storm Assault is a super interesting Ash of War. Very, very useful, especially in the early game. So the Storm Salt Ash of War, it offers the quality affinity, so it's going to scale with both dexterity and strength. It can apply to any pole arms that can thrust, as well as heavy thrusting swords and twin blades. And the way that this works is you surround yourself with wind, you leap into the air, and then you thrust your weapon into the ground, and you cause even more wind at the site of impact. Just like all the halberd-wielding banished knights that we've been fighting. Very, very effective. But you know what else is really effective? This Crucible Knight. This Crucible Knight is one that I don't personally reckon that you should fight at this juncture, at least not fairly. Now, why he's over here just paying kind of tribute to that fallen corpse over there is beyond me, but you cannot get a backstab on these enemies, and we're going to be fighting plenty of them face to face, so that this time I don't feel bad for the super cheesy tactic we're going to implement right now. So we're running past, of course. We're heading up here. We're going to grab a single Trina's Lily up on the cliff face here. There we have it. And I'm going to hop onto this broken bridge. Now, this is clearly not fully intentional on From Software's part, because there's some areas where there's just some wonky collision, as you can see. So please do be careful. But the idea is that we're now going to use our longbow with Mighty Shot with poison arrows. And we're going to use that against this Crucible Knight, and it's going to take a couple of volleys. But if we're patient, we get a very easy kill on a very tough enemy. Again, one that we'll be fighting plenty of in times to come. So I want to, if I can, position right on this piece of wood to give me the best chance. He can get all the way up here, so if you stand on that lower section, you can get hit. But I'm just going to target. I'm going to hold, for me, on my DualSense controller, L2 to ready Mighty Shot. And R2 is going to be my poison arrow. So I'm just going to fire 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's not great. Okay, just keep going. Gotta get that poison to proc. Unfortunately, with that shield, his negation is going to go way, way up. Oh, there it is. Perfect. And now, I'm just going to sit and wait while he does his thing. In fact, I am literally going to sit and wait. Hey, not too bad. So you can see there with one good volley, now I did have to hit him with a few extra arrows just to get it to proc, he is just about dead. So to finish him off, I should be able to hit him with 1 or 2 mighty shots with the flame arrows. I guess 1 is enough. And with that, we get a new incantation, the Aspects of the Crucible Horn. There are a few different aspects of the Crucible incantations. This is the very first one that we can get. Now, this one, it is an ancient Erdtree incantation, and the way that it reads is that it's a manifestation of the Erdtree's primal vital energies. Primordial crucible where life blended together, gore enemies with a horn, charge to drag them forward first. It's really good for closing distance, and there are a couple of armor sets that increase the damage by 3.5% every piece that is worn. It does, however, take 27 faith in order to cast, and it will cost 18 FP per cast. So a little bit out of our range right now, but with a little bit of adjusting, we would be able to do that just fine. Now there is another easy kill, one that I'm not very proficient at, so I'm not actually going to show it off, but I will describe it right after we come over to the corpse that he was paying tribute to and grab ourselves a smithing stone level 2. And let's head to the elevator, which is just up this way. So right here, and this is where the second easy kill can be done. There's actually a couple different ways that you can do this. Number one is if you can actually lure him onto this elevator and then you walk off. He will eventually follow you, but oftentimes he'll wait long enough so that when he falls to his death. The other is using this gap right here. When the Crucible Knights are at low health, it's right around 50%, maybe a little bit less, they will often start using their Crucible incantations. With this one, the fact that he charges forwards, actually he takes flight and then charges forward, you can stand right here, bait the attack from somewhere around there, and jump over his attack, causing him to land in that void, really, and fall to his death. Or you can fight him one-on-one and just let me know how that goes. We'll be doing enough of that so that I feel absolutely no shame for the cheese method we just employed. Calling the elevator down, and let's go ahead and ride this all the way up now. And just like that, we are right back at the Rampart Site of Grace for another run. So next up, we are going to be heading back out to the Stormhawks again. Let's just take care of them nice and quick. Might as well get some more runes and possible drops as well. Maybe a third Talon while I'm at it. And this time, instead of going up here and dropping down, might as well just take care of this one as well. Why not? We're going to head down these stairs. See, there's a little bit of loot right there. And we have the Golden Rune level 2 just there. Now we do have another Site of Grace very, very close, just over in the building above me. But to get there is going to take a little bit more work. So instead, you can look down here. We don't want to just drop down because we will be missing out on some kukris, which are right down here. I do love this look because you can actually see a teardrop scarab kind of just glimmering down below. That'll be some time. A very dangerous area, that is. But we have 5 kukris. Look for the broken window and hop in. And right away on the left-hand side, you notice that we're now in a no combat area because we have a new NPC. And this is Sorcerer Rogier. You may have met him before when you went to fight Margit the Fell Omen.
Ah, nice to meet you. The pleasure's mine. Rogier is the name. A sorcerer, as you might have guessed. I'm looking for a little something here in the castle. When I'm not hot-footing it from the troops, that is. But enough about me. What are you doing here in Stormveil Castle? This place is bristling with tarnished hunters, you know. They sacrifice our kind for grafting. Not exactly a place I'd stroll into without a purpose in mind.
So Rogier wants to know what we're doing here. You can say I can't tell you, but he is just going to ask again. Really no reason not to tell him, hey, you know what? I'm here to defeat Godric.
I see. Here to challenge Godric and lay your hands upon a great rune, are you? You can see it then, I take it. The guidance of grace. Well, enjoy it while you can. I'm tarnished, like you. But unlike you, I've seen neither hide nor hair of this guidance for the longest time. Still, I won't forget how it felt when I first came here, to the lands between. I'm privy to a few magical battle arts. Would you care to learn one? As a fellow Tarnished, once guided by grace, I'd love to help you out, if it please.
And we would, in fact, like to learn those battle arts. He sells 3 currently, and after we buy one, he will have an additional line of dialogue. So let's take a look at the skills. So we have 3. We have Glintstone Pebble, Carrying Greatsword, and we have the Ash of War spinning weapon. Glintstone Pebble, really basic, but don't sleep on this Ash of War. It is usable on daggers, swords other than colossal swords, polearms, katanas, twin blades, and it fires a short-range Glintstone Pebble, and then you can follow it up with a long-range thrust. I am convinced you can hit enemies in a different game if you're using a polearm with the Glintstone Pebble and the thrust follow-up. It is incredible. Then we have the Carrying Greatsword. It is usable on daggers and swords, again, except colossal. And you slam a magical greatsword overhead. It can be charged, and it has really good stun potential. And then you have Spinning Weapon, one of the flashiest Ashes of War early game. It is usable on small and medium swords, axes, hammers, polearms, and staves, minus the great spears, and you quite literally just spin the weapon in front of you. And it has incredible potential to stun lock any enemy that has little to no poise. So I do want to buy all of these. We do fortunately have enough. It's going to cost us 5,000 exactly. There we have it, and let's go ahead and listen to his additional line of dialogue using the talk option.
The battle art you've learned is of the Glintstone family. They were conceived at the Great Academy of Rea Lucaria, to the north of this castle. In the past, they obeyed laws which contravened the Golden Order, or so I'm told. Fascinating, isn't it? That the Golden Order was pliable enough to absorb practices that contradicted itself in the past. With the Order broken, twisted, and in need of repair, such adaptability is more important now than ever.
And that is all we can get out of Sorcerer Rogier right now. Now, he has a lengthy quest line. There are many steps to it, and it's going to be some time before we see it to its fruition. But you gotta love his shoes. I mean, that is Elden Bling through and through. So heading to the back here, we just have a couple of the commoners that we can deal with. But hey, if you're using the sacrificial axe and you're low on FP, you might as well stock up. And then out here, you gotta be careful because as you can see, we have an Exile Knight with a torch pole, and we have one of the Banished Knights following along. Now, if you want to just deal with one at a time, don't use Barricade Shield like I just did. But we can also soften up that knight a little bit. Okay, Barricade Shield. And back up. Barricade Shield. Good. And why not? Let's ground slam. Of course, I just realized I didn't even have enough FP to fully cast that, I don't think. But there we go, good clean kill, and because we got the critical, got a little bit of health back. Remember this ladder. We're going to be using this here in just a little bit, but also, just to give you an idea of where we are, there was that flame warhawk that we fought earlier. There are the rats on the rooftop that you should just be able to make out, but there is the torch pole exile soldier, and that imp door can only be opened from the other side. So instead, let's go ahead and turn my lantern on. It's getting a little dark. Inside here, we grab a golden rune or a pair of golden rune level 2s. And as we get a little bit further, if we stop here for just a moment, and then we back up, our good, lovable friend Gostoc is waiting for us yet again. So this is his third and final location. So it's probably about time that we go and we confront him for following us this entire time, especially for locking us in the door, even though there is no dialogue option for that. So head back to the ladder we just saw, and let's go have a word with our friend here. Here he is. Surprise.
Oh, you. Oh, great. I'm glad you're here. Just a small reward. I was saving it for you. Please, it's all yours.
And he gives us a Grace Mimic. Grace Mimic, which simply makes a fake Grace appear completely useless in PvE, and arguably completely useless in PvP as well, because, well, if you don't know where the graces are and you're PvPing and you're falling for a fake grace, then I guess you have it coming.
Good, now let's be on our way, shall we? Wouldn't want the guards to spot you.
Gotta love how he acts like he's concerned for us. Now that courtyard with all of that loot is absolutely full of enemies. And if you think that I would be cowardly enough to just stand somewhere really elevated and just use Mighty Shot to kill almost all those enemies, you would be very, very right. But for now, let's just make our way around on the inside here. You can kind of look down and see what we're getting ourselves into. There is an imp door, not the same one we just saw. Now, over to our left, we have an immediate exile soldier. Let's do a nice charge. R2, and again. Down below, our good friend, the Grafted Scion. So the Grafted Scion, remember, we did fight him at the very beginning as the tutorial boss. If you don't remember how to kill him, I will link a video to my full instructions there, but we are going to be going down here and taking care of him momentarily, using the same exact method as before, but with Barricade Shield, you can also do that as well. So here, we have a pile of corpses with a couple of dogs, and we have this troll who's just been eviscerated and even dismembered a little bit. There's a reason why many of the corpses are shown here dismembered. There's also that Banished Knight that we'll be dealing with, but first, I'm going to hop over these sandbags. I'm going to sneak up on this exile soldier just so I can get the little bit of health back from him. There we go. What did he drop for us? More gauntlets. We have a gold pickled foulfoot here. Now, as we loop around, there's the same room with the Banished Knight. You do also have... Come on now, climb the ladder. There we go. We're going to climb this ladder up. Make our way around. So this is leading us to a door that only opens from this side. So just in case you ever ran into a door in Stormveil that you couldn't figure out how to open, this is how you get there. Got another smithing stone level 2. Here's the door. Get that charge attack. We'll go back through there in just a moment. But first, over here. So we are still above the Grafted Scion, who is acutely aware of us. But inside this chest, we get 3 pickled turtleneck. And over here we get another stone sword key. Now you can drop down here. You can apply a grease and drop down and get a little bit of damage, but I promise that Grafted Scion will react faster than you're able to get out of the way. So for now, we're just going to head back through the door we just opened. Go ahead and deal with you here. There we go. The commoners are heading this way. But if we're quick, we should be able to stay crouched and actually get a backstab on this Banished Knight. There we go, perfect. And how about a ground slam? Barricade. There we go, knock him down. Excellent, health back, a little bit of FP. Perfect, so just to connect the dots again, here is the door that we could have gone through, but we jumped over the sandbags. And now we're just looping around, and inside this chest, we get a very, very interesting bit of loot. Really, really fun to use in PvP, the Mimic's Veil. Now, the Mimic's Veil, this is a tool that uses 6 FP in order to appear as other objects. We've seen similar either items or spells in previous From Software games. It'll appear as armor stands, chairs, rocks, depending on where you're using it. It's also known as Marika's Mischief. Godric, the boss of Stormveil Castle, who we're hunting down, he used this to disguise himself as a woman in order to escape Leyndell, the capital city. And this is all according to the great Kenneth Haidt, if you recall who that is at this point. But anyway, let's keep moving. So we're getting closer and closer to the Grafted Scion. He is still aware of us, so we don't want to rush down there just yet. We'll let this guy come to us. So even though the commoners are very, very frail, we don't need to fight them alongside the Grafted Scion. There we go. There is one just under the stairs, or so I thought. That's probably actually the one that was just patrolling. Oh, there he is. Nope, that's a corpse. Sorry, it's been a little bit since I took these notes. But we get the Exalted Flesh to increase our physical damage. There we go. And now it's just us and the Grafted Scion. So I'm going to use some fire grease to hopefully speed this up. You can use the barricade shield, but what I like to do again is just bait this attack. Roll. He does the follow-up. I'm going to do a nice charge R2. And then back up. Got to get kind of close enough to bait this again. And roll. He does the follow-up. That's perfect. Charge R2. Okay. Can't see because of these pillars. Roll. No follow-up, so I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to bait it. 1, 2, roll. There's the follow-up. Charge R2. Roll away. Get in rather close. Roll. No follow-up. So we're just going to double roll that. Oh, got the poke to the face. Roll. Ah. He isn't giving us that other opportunity. All right, this one can't work too. So I do a nice jump attack. Watch that big ol' slam. Okay, I need to get a little bit more open right now. Roll through. Roll. All right, if he doesn't start cooperating, I might just have to get a little bit more aggressive. There we go. My grease has run out, but that's okay. Watch the scream. Back up. The other thing we can do too is just try out barricade shield. Oh, not on that. Yep, big hit. That was on me. And this is the time for emergency crimson. Okay, barricade shield still going, but roll. Taking much longer than I had hoped. He's just not wanting to give up that follow-up anymore. Uh-oh. Run away. Yeah, didn't see that in my opening, did I? Okay, this is okay. Okay, 1, 2. No, not the thrust. Roll. Follow up. Oh, you. I'm just going to have to, like I said, get more aggressive. So notice I am blocking as I'm trying to bait these attacks, just so I only take chip damage. Whoa! Okay, using that emergency flask again. Never takes this long, I swear. There's a follow-up. Almost got him. But hey, we're still alive. We still have plenty of FP, so I can still use my incantations to heal. Roll. And there it is. Easy, like I said. Okay. Well, with the Grafted Scion defeated, expertly, I might add, there is a bit of loot that we want to take on, but it also kind of determines where you're going to go next. So don't get turned around. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab under this amazing portrait of Godric and his lion Suresh. We are going to go ahead and grab the Highland Axe. This axe, it's really interesting. In the hand axe category, it has a higher critical modifier than others. It has a modifier of 110. It requires 12 strength, 9 dexterity, and it enhances your roars by 10%. And this 10% also stacks with the roar medallion that we've picked up before, which is pretty useful indeed. So from there, we're heading into here. Now this right here, we're just going to get a little bit of loot and then, well, get out of here soon. Head up here, kill this one commoner. Preferably with a critical if we could have gotten it, just for the free health. And over here we've got 10 arrows. Now before we go out into the courtyard, because that's where that's leading, let's head back inside. And by that I mean let's do another loop just so you can see what those stairs really look like. They really do tie the room together. Let's follow this wall. In here, we have this wonderful bit of loot below that opening, and well, we'll get there at some point. So we have a somber smithing stone level 2, and we have an imp door. So hopefully you have at least one stone sword key. It only requires one. You can see because that lower one does already have a key in his head. There we go. Stone sword key was lost with use. And inside here we do have a couple of tough, heavy axe wielding exile soldiers. So let's just back up here, especially because we don't have any more emergency heals. Boy, it'd be great if one of you would join us. Okay, barricade shield. Counterattack. Jump because why not? Barricade shield again. And with those defeated over here, we get the Hawk Crest wooden shield, a very, very stylish wooden shield. So the Hawk Crest wooden shield, it is the long forgotten crest of Stormveil Castle, likely representing Stormhawk Dean. We'll talk more about Dean much later on. It's a decent shield for the strength requirement and the weight, but heater shields, of which we already have several, outclass for only 2 additional strength. But it is a really good looking shield, and it comes with parry, which is nice. But over here, we've got the Iron Wet Blade. The Iron Wet Blade is going to open up heavy, keen, and quality options for when we're using Ashes of War. Now, if an Ash of War already imparts that particular quality, then you can already switch it to that respective quality. But the Iron Wet Blade will open up heavy, keen, and quality for other Ashes of War. It allows Ashes of War to have certain scaling options. Basically, as you collect more wet blades, you open up additional options anytime you're using an Ash of War. And then over here, oh, one of my favorites, probably mispronouncing it, but we have the Misericord. This weapon is incredible for a critical build. So this is considered a dagger. It has the quick step skill with it, but it has, as you can see, a modifier of 140 critical. It is incredible. It requires 7 strength, 12 dexterity. It is the French word for mercy, and it was actually used by military physicians on the battlefield, according to the item description. Again, having that in your offhand, especially if you're using something like the Assassin's Crimson Dagger or one of its other kind of compatriots, really good again for those critical hits. And there is our good friend, the Exile, with that storm pole that we've been seeing. And you can see exactly where that door led. Right, back up top. Heading back to the room where we fought the Grafted Scion. Don't forget that over by these barrels, you get yourself a stanching boluses to prevent that bleed. Now, before we go over into that room, just to show you where it's all connecting, let's take this elevator up. And once again, right back at the Rampart Tower. It all comes together. But in here, this is where we saw that pile of corpses with the dogs. Now, one of these dogs goes down very, very quickly. In fact, I should just be able to kill him with a couple of quick fire arrows. By couple, I mean 3. There we go. And for the other, why not a little barricade action? There we go. And around the corpses, we have a golden rune level 1. We have a lump of flesh, but remember that NPC on Stormhill at the Stormhill Shack, Roderica? We get the Chrysalids Memento. This is another word for chrysalis. In other words, the pupal state of the Lepidopteran order of insects. So it indicates change. It indicates starting as one thing, completely decomposing and becoming something else. It is a transitional state. Unfortunately, Roderica's friends have been sacrificed for grafting. Remember what Roderica said, their arms, their legs, their heads taken, all stuck to the spider. Well, this is something that she would like to know about. So we will keep that in mind and we will bring that back to her very, very soon. But for now, we are actually going to head back to the Rampart Tower side of Grace. And we are going to call it a part there, only because the courtyard is coming up, and that is a rather lengthy section, and we are barreling towards the end of Stormveil Castle with Godric the Grafted at the end, and I want to be able to tie that all into one final episode of Stormveil Castle. So, welcome back to Everything Possible in Elden Ring. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. If you did, leave me a comment below and let me know what you learned. And if I missed something, or if you have a better strategy, say for the Grafted Scion, and you probably do, let me know down below too so we can all keep learning. But I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you. I don't have the bow ready. I will see you next time.